about IU football and whether they really have a chance to dominate the college football playoffs for a third straight game. First it was Alabama, then it was the Peach Bowl in Oregon. Now it's going to be the national championship game in Miami. Can Indiana dominate Miami? I think they can. I think they will. I know they will. How do I know that they will? That's just who they are. That's what they're doing. They ask of themselves what's necessary to do exactly that. Play after play after play after play. They're not thinking about 120 plays. They're thinking about the current play. There are very few teams in football that have that kind of discipline. Indiana does. And that's why Indiana's going to dominate this game. Indiana's going to dominate the game because of up here, the 4 inches between the ears. Not the 100 yards, not the 4.340s that some of them can run and that more Miami guys can run, not because Fernando Mendoza is a tactical genius and a surgical thrower of the football, but because they demanded of themselves that they do it on every single play, and they're going to get that done. It's manifest destiny. I'm telling you, I never believe in manifest destiny. Almost never. I do in this case. Indiana's going to get it done. They are going to play smash mouth football with a team that eventually is going to say enough, and they're going to wither from the competition. That's what's going to happen because that is what Indiana does. We'll talk about that some more. And we'll talk about some All-Americans, ESPN All-Americans. Indiana with 4 of them, 3 on the first team, 1 on the second. I never thought I'd see that. Like a first-team All-American for Indiana, a Heisman Trophy winner for Indiana. Indiana running through the college football playoffs, quarterfinals, and semifinals like a hot knife through butter. I never thought I'd see any of it. We're seeing all of it. The winner did contact me today, Toby, tell you the truth, and I already got the hoodie in the mail to him via UPS this time. We're going to talk about the challenges that IU has in this game. And there are many of them, but I think they can overcome all of them. We're going to talk about throwing games. College basketball, what in the hell are people doing? For the love of God, don't you understand? Number 1, it's illegal. Number 2, it's against the rules. Number 3, it's just flat wrong. Is there no end to the greed of people? Is there no end to the belief that as long as you get paid to do something, it's okay to do that thing? It's okay because he got paid. He's got to get his. How many people have you heard in society say, he had to get his? Why? Why you got to get yours? Once you get yours, what do you do with it? If you were going to do something good with the yours that you got, you'd already have it because he'd be smart enough to get it. Charles says, Kent, I never asked what's your favorite John Mellencamp song. Any news on Wyatt or Frankie? Not yet. I hope they're healthy, but I think either way, IU 38, Miami 12. I don't think Miami's going to get to 12. I got to tell you the truth. Indiana could be 38. Indiana could be 34, 38, something like that. I don't think Miami gets to 20, and I don't think they get to 12. I think defensively, Indiana's going to rough them up, tell you the truth. My favorite Mellencamp song, I don't know, you can't go wrong with Pink Houses, right? Scarecrow's a great song. Cherry Bomb's kind of a piece of piffle, but it's kind of fun. I like that. Lonely All Night, good song. Early Mellencamp, right? When he was still Johnny Cougar, which was ridiculous. Good for Mellencamp for going back to his real name and saying, you know what, that brand, it's not me, thank you. I like, what's that, Dance Naked? That's a good song. I like a lot of Mellencamp songs. So going out and seeing him, Music Center, that's going to be a pleasure this summer. I'm going to enjoy that. Thanks for asking. Colts quarterbacks. We're going to get into the quarterbacks, which will leave us only the offensive line, and we'll do that tomorrow. But the quarterbacks, what you got? We're going to talk about that. One of the 3 is going to be gone this coming year, be unavailable to the Colts this year. Who's that going to be? I'll tell you. And then the Pelicans at the Pacers tomorrow night at Cambridge Fieldhouse. The battle for the bottom gets real tomorrow, people. You got to lose this game. whether you're the Pelicans or the Pacers, because neither team has a chance in hell of making the playoffs. So keep digging and see how far bottom can be. Get there. Get to the and stay there and give yourself the best chance possible of getting somebody who could change your franchise next year. And there are guys who could do that. Diabate, holy cow. You put him with Halliburton, you put Boozer with Halliburton, hello. You got a chance to be really, really good in 2026, 2027. You have no chance to be good at the end of 25, 26. So don't worry about 25, 26. Go out there, play, stay in shape, but don't win. Even though I'm not sold on Richardson, I'd hate to see him develop somewhere else. I don't think you'll see him develop somewhere else. I don't know to what extent he's interested in developing, to tell you the truth. This is Inside Indiana Sports Now for Thursday, January 15th, 2025, brought to you by the great people at Today's Dentistry, Dr. Mike O'Neill, the best dentist in the world. There you go. Best dentist all time. Let's go. Get your teeth maintained by the great Dr. Mike O'Neill. If you're serious about your teeth, you got to be serious about your dentist. And Dr. Mike O'Neill is a serious dentist. Very talented. Give him a call, 317-849-2933. Becoming a member. Hey, we're going to have a great time in our membership-only coffee with Kent on Saturday morning. You want to be a part of it? Become a member. It's just that easy. Either tier. And I'm going to order more books so that all meal deal members, new all meal deal members, will get a copy of the book. But I haven't done that yet, so it's going to be a while. If you want to become a Breakfast Buddy member and then upgrade to all meal deal, you can when I get more books. That's fine. But I'm going to order them. I think I'm going to put the order in on the 21st. So there you go. Become a subscriber and you can wear prizes. Now, this is not going to be a prize. But when I put on this hat, you know things have gotten serious with the prizes and with the Hoosiers. So, become a subscriber and you're eligible to win a prize. Use the phrase that pays. I'm not saying it anymore. If you watch regularly, you know the phrase that pays through Tuesday. Use it, enter, done. All right, mate, and smash that like button. You can only do it once. Isn't that a shame? Otherwise, people would be going like this on the like button. It'd be like Neil Peart playing the drums. And if you want to make a donation, make a donation. No big whoop, but with a comment or a question, elevate the level of discourse on the channel. All right, let's talk about, should we trade Mathurin? That's a good question. We'll talk about that tomorrow morning. I think that's a good question. I don't know what you would get for him because he's having trouble staying healthy. He is kind of reckless in the way he throws his body around. I love it in the moment because he gets to the line and he's really a good foul shooter. Let's talk about the only game left in the college football season between the Hoosiers and the Hurricanes. Indiana, an 8.5-point favorite. I think that number could still go up. I'd get in, if you didn't get in on 7.5, I told you it was going to go up to 8.5. Might stay at 8.5, but I think it could go up further because smart money is going to start coming in on Indiana because it's what Indiana does. People think that it matters that they're going to play this game in Miami. I don't think it matters. I think you could play this game on the surface of Mars and it wouldn't make any damn difference. You can get tickets, $2,853. There you go. Thomas, here we go, says so many Miami fans say O-line, weight of their line is heavier and will hold us from the rush and they will be able to run. I don't think that. I don't think they're going to be able to run. Indiana doesn't do that. What Indiana does, and I think this is really underplayed in when people talk about Indiana, is they adjust exceptionally well. Like Oregon moved the football early, and then they stopped moving the football because Indiana adjusted. Indiana adjusts. Brian Haynes is a really smart defensive coordinator, and he'll adjust to whatever Miami does that first drive. If it goes well for Miami, right, the first drive for Oregon was the pick six, but that second drive, that one went a little bit, didn't it? And the Hoosiers, they kind of bent, they didn't break, and then they got really, really smart. And that was about the end of Oregon offensively. I think that's going to happen again. 4 All-Americans, according to ESPN, wearing Hoosier uniforms. 3 of them first team, obviously Fernando Mendoza, first team. Carter Smith, left tackle, first team. Aiden Fisher, first team. Second team, Pat Coogan, the center. That's a good group. I don't know why D'Angelo Pond's sitting in there, but that's fine. 4 is good. For Miami, they've got 3. First team, Ruben Bain is a really good edge. And then you've got Francis Malioga. He is an offensive tackle. He's really good. He's a consensus pick to go in the first 10 picks of the NFL draft. And then Keontae Scott, who's a quarterback. Those 2 guys were second team. Carson Beck not listed. You know, people are examining right past the quarterback comparison, aren't they? They're talking about all kinds of other arcane stuff. Sometimes football is as easy as, all right, who's your quarterback? How smart is your quarterback? Mendoza's really, really smart. Carson Beck, he's no dummy. He's been playing college football for 6 years. So he's been around, you know. There was a time when he could play, and he does play. That's what Carson Beck, that's why you got to spy him a little bit. They get Carson Beck. They've watched Carson Beck for years. They know exactly who this guy is. They know what he likes to do, and they're going to take it away. Patrick says, hello, Ken, are you concerned about these college football playoff? Indiana has not been tested from teams they've played. Do you think that can have a negative impact on the championship game? I might think that, except that against Iowa, they were tested. At Oregon, they were tested. At Penn State, they were tested. And they passed those tests. It took a little bit of magic in Iowa City. It took a toe tap at Penn State. And it took a pick 6 at Oregon. This game, I don't think it's going to be that kind of game. If it is that kind of game, how much fun would that be? I have absolute confidence that Indiana will win a game like that. Miami's lost twice. They lost to SMU in overtime, and they lost to Louisville. Louisville. What? 4 days. We got 4 days to wait. This is only going to happen once, not just in our lifetimes, but in every lifetime. Like, this isn't just the game for the guys on that team and alums and students and everybody who follows IU football. This is the game for all time and ever. The children of children who will play Indiana football will look back on this game. When they play at Indiana, people are going to talk about the 2025 Hoosiers. And they're going to speak reverentially and with great joy as they discuss them. And we're in the middle of it right now. And we have to enjoy that. I think that it kind of, how's your mind work? How's your personality work? Are you a negative Nelly? Are you a positive Polly? Paulie, we'll say. All right, which are you? If you're positive, you're thinking, man, I can't wait for Monday. If you're negative, you're saying, I don't know if Indiana can win this game. Man, that is a high hill to climb. My God, it's Miami. You know, Miami beat Ohio State by 10, and Indiana only beat Ohio State by 3. That's got to mean that Miami's going to win this game by 7. That does not work. That kind of math does not work in football. Indiana has been building toward this game for 2 years. And they continue to prove to themselves and us again and again and again and again that they're going to stomp the living hell out of Miami. And that's what they're going to do. What challenges do they face in this game? Well, that's a hell of a question. How about that Miami pass rush? How about Ruben Bain? They're going to have that to deal with. They've got a good offensive line. Indiana does. And if those defensive ends sell out to go get Mendoza, Mendoza's just going to hand it to Henby or to Black, and they're going to ramble and rumble and then ramble some more and then sprint and get to the goal line. Miami, they're playing in Miami. All right, they are, but this isn't going to be an entirely Miami crowd. I know plenty of people going down for this game. It's not going to be like the Peach Bowl or Rose Bowl was, where the vast majority of people at those games were wearing cream and crimson. That's not the way. And IU Tridents, that's not going to be what happens in Miami. It'll be split more toward 50-50, and there may be a slight advantage toward Miami. It's okay. No big deal. Indiana didn't lose on the road either, so I'm not worried about that. How about overconfidence? Indiana hadn't been affected by overconfidence once. That's not what Indiana does. That's not what Cignetti allows. These guys aren't going to be all puffed up, rolling into Hard Rock Stadium. That's not what they do. They are humble warriors. And when you've got humble warriors, you win. It's what you, with a modicum of talent. And Indiana's got a modicum of talent. I think one of the things that you have, this sense that the ride is ending, you can get lost in the nostalgia of a moment as that moment is occurring. I don't think Indiana's going to have that issue. I don't think Aiden Fisher and Elijah Surratt and Fernando Mendoza and D'Angelo Pons and Lewis Moore and Carter Smith and Pat Coogan are going to allow that. I don't think they're going to allow that. They're going to be in the moment, play after play after play after play. And what's Miami going to be? How's Miami going to look at this? Miami gets down early. Are they going to say, well, geez, everybody was right? What are they doing? Why are we talking only about Indiana and whether they're on social media, which they're not? Nobody's talking about Miami. How do they look at themselves? I haven't heard anybody talk about that. Is there a love for what they've already accomplished and they feel like they've already done it? I don't get that sense. Sometimes you have that. Like you get to the Final Four and you say, man, we got to the Final Four. Can you believe it? We got to the Final Four. And you go to the game and you're like, wait, we have to play again? But we already got to where we dreamed of getting. I don't think that's happening with this group. I think they're going to get on that plane. It's going to be a business trip. They're going to spend their time looking at film. They're going to spend their time going through walkthroughs, figuring out exactly what they're going to do. If the crowd does get loud, what kind of silent count do they go to? How are they going to adjust to all of that? They'll have thought about all of it because that's what they do when they're awake. Toby says, in the words of Mike Tyson, pregame trash talk and stats are great till you get punched in the mouth. That's exactly right. Same thing with Alabama. Paul Feinbaum, well, I'm certainly not picking Indiana. Wait till Indiana has to play an SEC team. Told you then he was nothing but hot air, and he is. And then same thing with Oregon. It's very, very difficult beating a team twice. No, it's not. It's easier to beat a team twice. In fact, you can only beat a team twice if you beat them the first time. Let's talk about college basketball. Let's talk about throwing games. 17 programs named, 26 players. And the only real program among them is DePaul, where you had an alleged 4 guys for DePaul, 1 unnamed, but the other guys were Macabre Etienne, Jalen Terry, Deshaun Nelson, in the winter of 2024. So the end of the 23-24 season. They threw a half against Georgetown, and they also threw either parts or the entire game against Butler and St. John's. What a tragedy that is. Those players are men of no repute whatsoever. Horrible. Horrible thing to do. You sell your soul for a couple of bucks. Sell your basketball soul. What are you thinking? I don't get it. Number one, it's illegal. They've been named in indictments. Absolutely tragic for those kids because they're already getting paid, right? But they took the short money and they decided we need more. And that shows such a paucity of values and morality and decency and a knowledge of what's right and what's wrong. People think as long as you get paid, it's okay. That's not the way life works at all. You have money, you don't have money. What kind of human being are you? That's what matters. It's not how many zeros come after your name. It's not whether your last name begins with a B, like is in billionaire. It's just you live a good life, you help people live a good life. That's how your life is measured. When you have a funeral to celebrate somebody's life, you don't say, hey, he made a lot of money. If that's the first thing you say about a person, that person wasn't worth a damn as a human being. And these guys just don't get it. Greed and crippling gambling addiction go hand in hand. Greed's awful. Wall Street, when Gordon Gekko says greed is good, that was supposed to be a moment that was reviled by moviegoers. It wasn't. People saw it as heroic. Are we deranged? What's wrong with us? Ridiculous. Charles, they make a 100-yard measuring tape. That's funny. You're a great spokesman, Kent. Thank you. Appreciate that. I don't know what that's in regards to. Let's talk. I just hate these things. And by the way, I mentioned what year this took place, just so nobody thinks that Chris Holtmann had anything to do with this. Chris Holtmann was not the coach at DePaul when all this nonsense went down. And nobody on Indiana's program has been named. Nobody on Purdue's program. Nobody on Butler's program. Butler only benefited, I guess, as the DePaul guys threw that Butler game or a part of it, allegedly. But it's just horrible that people think, well, as long as I get my stack, I'm cool. No, you're not. There's so many things more important than your stack. Colts QBs. Let's talk about the quarterback position. First, we're going to talk about Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, everybody talks. We haven't talked to Daniel Jones about this, but we have with Steichen and we have with Chris Ballard, and nobody is saying anything other than Daniel Jones is going to be back as the quarterback. What they needed to do was not sign an extension during the season, or the money in any kind of bonus that would be allocated toward Daniel Jones would then have become subject to a signing bonus split that would occur partially in this season. And you didn't want that because you were trying to spend up to the cap to improve the roster to get wins, especially when you started 7-1. So that's how they were able to make a trade like Sauce Gardner for A.D. Mitchell and 2 first-round draft picks. They're able to acquire Sauce Gardner. First of all, he's not all that expensive, right? Second of all, you had cap space, so that was a good thing. And the cap space you would have required in order to sign Daniel Jones, you get the idea that this deal's all but done, wink, wink, nod, nod. So he's going to be back. Can that Achilles heal in time for him to be back by OTAs like he would want? He's not going to get hit. He's not running sprints. Just go out there and throw. I think he can do that like Tyrese Halliburton's throwing, passing, shooting, dunking, right? Not competing. Then you've got Richardson. Richardson's done. He's a ghost in Indianapolis. He will not be back unless something weird, really weird happens that change the assessment of Anthony Richardson by this team. He's going to be gone. And he's going to be gone before the draft starts, and he's going to be traded like for a 6th-round pick or something like that because you've got to get something for him, for God's sake. You can't trust him to be healthy. And when he's on the field, you can't trust him to be accurate. Strike one, strike two. And what it sounds like is you can't trust him to work really hard at the game and understand kind of the minute details of the game. As you assess a defense, they change things up. Like Phillip Rivers, that's how Phillip Rivers was able to play a few weeks ago because he was able to look and say, okay, they're bluffing this, they're doing that, they're doing this. All right, let's go. And he never misses. Anthony Richardson is not that guy. So it's about football acumen. I haven't heard Ballard or Steichen say anything that would lead me to believe that that there's a window at all for him coming back. Riley Leonard. They got to make a decision about Riley Leonard. What I would do every single year is I would draft a quarterback in the 5th or 6th round. And I'd keep cycling through these cats until I finally found one that maybe that guy was the answer to some kind of question that wasn't okay. Who's the next Eason? Who's the next Kelly? What you want a guy who can be a backup for a while. Maybe that's Riley Leonard. I thought Riley Leonard looked good in Houston. All right. Mooney Ward and DeForest Buckner coming back next season. We don't know about Mooney Ward. We believe that DeForest Buckner will. Stop talking AR. You're giving other teams reasons not to hire him. They can watch tape. They know that some kind of contraption broke and fractured his orbital bone. Like that. I'm not privy to any information that opposing teams are or aren't. Chris Ballard, Shane Steichen shouldn't just give the quarterback job to DJ. Competition needs to take place. AR needs to be part of the No. It's a wasted roster spot. And if you can get a 6th rounder for him, make the deal. I like Anthony Richardson. But from what the powers that be say, there is no chance that he's back. It appears that there's no available avenue. And the only reason I say that maybe something will happen that'll cause them to kind of change their minds magically is that that's always a possibility. And I don't want to discount that 1 in 1,000 moment. It's like if you bought Powerball tickets and I said, you have no chance to win. Of course you have a chance to win. There's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. Yeah, there's a chance. Colts can get Ty Simpson in a late round. No, thank you. I wouldn't bring up weird. Yikes. Why? I don't understand. Sometimes I'm dense like that. I liked Riley this year. I liked him too. Sorry, Ken. I'm trying to be funny. These Colts depress me. I don't blame you. Hendrickson, too expensive. What do they have that the Bengals would take for him? I don't know what that'd be. Pelicans. So what you're going to have, in all likelihood, is you're going to have Jones, you're going to have Leonard, and maybe somebody they draft. And the guy that they brought onto the practice squad late is supposed to be some kind of a genius. What I think about Allard from Penn State, I like Allard. I like him. Pavia as an undrafted free agent, I don't want anybody making dance videos. Dance videos, I'm done with dance videos. All I had to saw the last one with Trey Galloway and Gabe Cupps. And then Gabe Cupps transfers, and he's making more damn dance videos. Stop with the dance videos. Dance videos do not win you games. So let's not focus any attention on dance videos or people who make them. All right. Pelicans and Pacers tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Big game. To the loser could go the spoils. You know what? It's time. I'm not saying to tank. You don't have to tank, but do you have to win? And I'm not rooting for the Pacers to lose. I'm rooting for them to win next year when it's possible that they could win next year and have it be meaningful. IU plays against Iowa at Simon Scott Assembly Hall. That game coming up on Saturday, 2 o'clock on Fox Sports 1, I think. Might be on Fox. We'll see. They look like the same team to me. I haven't seen a lot of Iowa, but I watched Iowa last night because I wanted to see what Ben McCollum's doing. And Bennett Sturts seems to be potentially, he was 2-9 shooting threes last night at Mackey. So not altogether that impressive, but he had 19 points overall. If he's not scoring or assisting, I don't know who does for Iowa. Indiana and Iowa look very similar. Indiana has got to win that game. So there is hope for that. Dance videos, shades of Tim Priller. Was Tim Priller doing dance videos? I like Tim Priller. He worked for the Pacers for a while. I'd trade it. He was brilliant first half, fell off hugely. Oh, you mean JT? Oh, I see you said JT. We could get something for him. He's expensive and aging. He's $15.5 million. I don't know Maybe somebody would trade for him. But if you don't have Jonathan Taylor, if you don't have Jonathan Taylor and somehow you lose Alec Pierce to free agency, you got Tyler Warren in the pips. Like, you got nobody offensively that can do anything dynamic at all. That can't be where this team's going. You got to keep Jonathan Taylor. I don't know what you do this offseason about an extension. Maybe you don't extend him, but you got to have Jonathan Taylor in 26. You just do. Indiana basketball could win if only they could play two halves. That'd be nice. Yeah, first 3 quarters of games, they played pretty well. AR not accurate throwing the ball, never been as good as the media says. You know what? He's never been as bad as the media says either. Tell you the truth. But this last injury, I mean, that's it. Somehow, some way, you got to just say, all right, football, not meant for him. That's not where he's made $34 million, right? It's a $34 million initial contract because he was 4th overall. And I don't think he's a bust. I just think that he's a good play. At the craps table, it's a good play. You know what? First roll 6. Backed it up with a big, tall stack. That's a good play. But, you threw craps. And so, to me, it's not a bust. It's not a bad draft pick. It just you didn't win with it. And so that's life. We will talk to you tomorrow, Breakfast with Kent. I cannot wait. It's awesome. I'm going to go wear my hat, walk around the neighborhood. Now, this latest purchase that was recommended to me by the great Paulie Balls, this is an IU Event Services shirt that I bought off eBay. It cost me $5. With shipping, it was $8. I believe that with this Event Services shirt and a clipboard, I can walk through any gate on that campus. We'll see. LOL and the Pips. Can't lose Alec. No, you can't. That should be a fireable offense. He was the entire wide receiver production. He was. Do a march, Kent. You know what? I don't mind wearing crazy outfits, but marching. I don't like marching. I march to the beat of my own drummer, and my drummer doesn't play a march. Then why did he tap out against Houston? Was he hurt, tired? I'm genuinely curious. Who? I don't know who tapped out. Oh, you mean Richardson back in the day? Yeah, that kind of told you something too. And the tenor, Shane Steichen's tenor in discussing Anthony Richardson from that moment forward, entirely different. It was. And I think rightly so. You can't have a quarterback do that, ever. Ever. Under any circumstance. That Anthony, and a really good dude, that he didn't know that speaks to the coaches that have had him previously, that didn't force him, put him in a position where he kind of had to face some adversity and become a man. The only way you become a man in your life is by facing adversity. I don't know what kind of adversity Anthony Richardson faced that turned him tough, because it seems he's not. Go IU, always fun, Kent. Yes, got to keep Jonathan. AR, just too bad. Thanks for the fun. My pleasure, Michael. Absolutely. We'll talk to you tomorrow.